Here's how to pronounce the full name of every club in the 2024-25 UEFA Conference League. If I butchered your team's name, I'm sorry. Let me know how to say it in the comments or tag me in a video reply. This episode of the series took quite a while to research. After UEFA reformatted its 3 club competitions this season, it's allowed for more teams on the periphery to participate. And with more clubs, that means more to discover. I learned so much during this process and hope you enjoy the result of that work. If you like this series, please let me know in the comments and say thanks by hitting that subscribe button. Now, let's begin. Futbolowy klub Mladá Boleslav akcjowa społeczność. Would you believe that a predecessor of this Czech club was named after Aston Villa? I didn't either. SSK Mladá Boleslav was founded by students in 1902. 3 years later, a team named SK Aston Villa Mladá Boleslav was founded, named after the mighty Aston Villa, the most decorated club in the world back then, and nicknamed Astonka for short. These two clubs would play fierce rivalries for years, with a record crowd of 8,000 people seeing one local derby. However, after World War II, the communist regime took over in Czechoslovakia, and the two clubs were consolidated, along with another from the city. There were many name changes in the decades since then. The current name comes from the Czech city of Mladá Boleslav, where the club was founded, which translates to Young Boleslav after its founder, Duke Boleslav II. One such tribute is still in existence. The Astonka Stadium is still home to the FK Mladá Boleslav youth teams. The current name is Futbolowy klub Mladá Boleslav akcjowa społeczność, or Mladá Boleslav for short. Jagiellonia Białystok sportowa szkoła akcyjna. This series was invented for names like this. Białystok is a city in Poland. Jagiellonia, a word that dates back to the 14th century, comes from Jogaila. Born a pagan and the Grand Duke of Lithuania, he ascended to the Polish throne and established a dynasty that ruled the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth for 2 centuries. Even the coat of arms of Białystok has national imagery from both Poland and Lithuania. The Polish crowned eagle and Vitus, the Lithuanian knight on horseback. Formed by soldiers in the Polish army in 1920, the club has undergone many name changes over the years. Jagiellonia was introduced for the first time in 1932, which was also when the club's crest first appeared. The city of Białystok's coat of arms features national symbolism of both Poland and Lithuania. Due to financial problems, the club dissolved in 1938, and after World War II the issues continued. However, they were kept alive through mergers, and the name Jagiellonia returned in the 1950s. Today, they are commonly known as Jaga. That's a lot easier to say than Jagiellonia Białystok sportowa szkoła akcyjna. Nogometny klub Celje. I hope you didn't skip the last club, because despite Celje coming from Slovenia, they're oddly connected. Anna of Celje was the second wife of Jogaila, aka Władysław Jogailo. Nicknamed the Counts after the Counts of Celje, the club crest incorporates stars from the crest of the ancient Slovenian nobility. The name of the city Celje dates back to Roman times. As for the club, it's undergone quite the assortment of changes over the years, but the city name has always remained. Formed in 1919 as SK Celje, the club changed its name to NK Kladivar, a Slovene term for blacksmith, shortly after World War II. The name has changed 7 times since 1991. There were plenty of changes after Slovenia gained independence. For the last 12 years, it's remained as Nogometny klub Celje. Today, you can simply call them Celje. Chelsea Football Club. If you ever wondered why a club in Fulham was named Chelsea, you're in luck. In 1904, businessman Gus Mears acquired the Stamford Bridge Athletic Stadium in Fulham with the aim of turning it into a football ground. An offer to lease it to Fulham FC was turned down, so Mears opted to form his own club to use the stadium. But there was already a club named Fulham, so Chelsea, the name of the adjacent borough, was chosen instead. Names like Kensington FC, Stamford Bridge FC, and London FC were also considered. Today, you know them simply as Chelsea, but their full name is Chelsea Football Club. Football Club København. Fairly straightforward, and the origins make sense. The club's name comes from the city where it was founded, Copenhagen, or København in Danish. The name København comes from the Old Norse word Kaupmannahofen, which means merchant's harbor. Hopefully I didn't butcher that one too badly. Today, they are known as Football Club København. English speakers will say Copenhagen for short. Koninklijke Atletiek Associatie Gent. Koninklijk means royal in Flemish, and the full name translates to Royal Athletic Association Gent. Gent's origins can actually be traced back to a Belgian gymnastics club. Société Gymnastique La Gantoise was formed in 1864. The word royal first appeared in 1914, after the club received the royal title, named Association Royale Athlétique Lagentois. You can see the RAAG on the logo from the time. The current name came about in 1971 when the club started using Flemish. How their logo changed from that to the current logo featuring a Native American chief is both controversial and a topic for another day. Koninklijke Atletieke Associatie Gent is their full name. That's a mouthful, so you can just call them Gent. Associazione Calcio Fiorentina Società a Responsabilità Limitata. Fiorentina's name is one of the more interesting ones in here. Originally founded as Associazione Calcio Fiorentina in 1926 by a merger of the two oldest clubs in Florence. Aim of the merger was to give Florence one strong club to rival the more dominant Italian football clubs. The club went bankrupt in 2002 and was refounded, first as Florentia Viola and then as ACF Fiorentina. Technically, their full name is ACF Fiorentina Società a Responsabilità Limitata, reflecting the corporate structure of modern names, but you'll probably just call them Fiorentina. Linza Athletic Sport Club. Like many other clubs in Central Europe, LASK started out as a multi-sport club. Founded in 1899 by Albert Siems, who was in charge of the post office in Linz, it wasn't until 9 years later, in 1908, when they played football for the first time. That's when Linza Sport Club was used first. It would officially change in 1919 to Linza Athletic Sport Club. Over the years, the common name for the club has simply remained LASK. Real Betis Balompié. If you've been following these pronunciation videos, you know by this point that Real translates to royal, thanks to patronage from King Alfonso XIII. The second part, Betis, is derived from Betis, the Roman name for the Guadalquivir River which passes through Seville, where the club was founded. Two clubs, Sevilla Balompié and Betis Football Club, merged in 1914 to create the current club. The club's full name is Real Betis Balompié, or just Real Betis. İstanbul Başakşehir Futbol Kulübü. Unlike most of their Istanbul rivals, Başakşehir is a fairly young club. Established in 1990 in the Başakşehir district of Istanbul, which translates to Wheat City, the club's original name was İSKİ Spor Kulübü, but there have been multiple ownership changes and different sponsors since then. I wouldn't be surprised to see another name change after the announcement that they're partnering with City Football Group. For now at least, their full name is İstanbul Başakşehir Futbol Kulübü. I'll call them Başakşehir, and you can too. Molde Football Club. Can you imagine if your club was named after your opponents? Luckily, that isn't the case for this team any longer. Founded in 1911, Molde was originally known as International because their opponents were primarily visitors from international cruise ships or trading vessels. The name changed to Molde in 1915 as a tribute to the town of Molde in Norway, where the club was founded. Their full name is Molde Football Club, or just Molde for short. Legia Warszawa Spółka Akcyjna. There is a lot of history here, and a lot of names. I won't nearly be able to do it justice. Drużyna Sportowa Legia was formed during the outbreak of World War I. After the war, the club resumed activity in 1920, merging with another local team in 1923. Legia then became the official football club of the Polish army, renamed once again to Wojskowy Klub Sportowy Legia Warszawa. Wojskowy means militarians in Polish, and the connection has been there from the beginning. The club has had many different names over the years. The historic name Legia returned in 1957. Today, they go by Legia Warszawa, Legia Warsaw, or simply Legia. Erster Fußballclub Heidenheim, 1846 eingetragener Verein. This club has a crazy history, and not because they're nearly 200 years old. Whenever you see the one or Erste in the name of a German-speaking club, it means that it was the first club to be founded in that city. And like the 1846 in the name suggests, Heidenheim was founded 178 years ago as multi-sport club Heidenheimer SB. But Heidenheim as a professional football club is relatively new. They didn't even reach the third tier of German football until 2009, only playing in the amateur divisions previously. I need to make a video on their rise thanks to legendary manager Frank Schmidt, who is responsible for their rise and transformation to professionalism. The full name is Erster Fußballclub Heidenheim 1846 eingetragener Verein, but you can just call them Heidenheim. Djurgårdens Idrottsförening Fotbollsförening. Similar to Heidenheim, Djurgårdens also originated as part of a larger multi-sport club, Djurgårdens IF. Idrottsförening means sports club in Swedish, and you might be able to guess what Fotbollsförening means. Djur also means animal in Swedish, specifically wild animal or beast. The island of Djurgården was actually a royal hunting park in central Stockholm. Now, It's a park with outdoor activities and museums. And today, the club is commonly referred to as Djurgården or DIF. I'll try to say the full name again. It's Djurgården Idrottsförening Fotbollsförening Atletikos Porisferikos Omilios Elinon Lefkosios. Despite this simple acronym, I'll admit that this one is pretty intimidating at first glance. APOEL is the abbreviation of the Greek phrase Atletikos Porisferikos Omilios Elinon Lefkosios, which translates to Athletic Football Club of Greeks of Nicosia. Now here's a fun fact. The players soon showed that they were not just good footballers, but excellent track and field athletes. So they created a track and field team in addition to the football team. The club's name was originally just POEL, but the A, standing for athletic, was soon added to reflect the track team. Soon after, a volleyball team and a table tennis team were also established. Kinda interesting, as many of these other clubs started out as multi-sport clubs, but APOEL was the opposite. Their full name, Atletikos Porisferikos Omilios Elinon Lefkosios, is a mouthful, so you can just call them APOEL. Sport Club Rapid. While you may call them Rapid Vienne or Rapid Vienna, the name of the Austrian capital is not part of the club's official name. But that isn't how it started. The club's name has changed quite drastically over the years, to the point where it barely resembles its original name at all. Rapid Vienne was founded as Erste Vienna Arbeiterfußballclub, which translates to the first workers' football club of Vienna. In 1899, the name was changed to Sport Club Rapid, following the example of fellow club Rapida Berlin. Vienne or Vienna are commonly added when referring to the club, but as mentioned, it is actually not part of the official name. Today, they are known as either SK Rapid or Rapid Vienne, but their full name is Sport Club Rapid. Atletikos Siligos Omonias Lefkosios. This one will throw you off if you aren't familiar with the Greek language. Lefkosia is the Greek name for the city, and Nicosia is the Latin and English word for it. Just like APOEL, that's where they're from. Another member of a multi-sport club, Omonia is the football department of Athletic Club Omonia Nicosia, a Cypriot multisport club founded in 1948. The name Omonia comes from the Greek word omonia, which means harmony, unity, or concord. It's a great word, and that's what you can still call them today. It's definitely a lot easier and quicker to say than Atletikos Siligos Omonias Lefkosios. Helsingin Jalkapalloklubi. Helsingin Jalkapalloklubi may look like a tongue twister, but the translation is very straightforward. Helsinki Football Club. Pretty simple, the name refers to it being the first club in Helsinki to focus solely on football. Founded at a bowling alley in Helsinki, Hujiku gained popularity among Finnish-speaking students, with Swedish-speaking members leaving to join other clubs. The club's official title is typically shortened to Hujiku Helsinki or just Hujiku. That HJK abbreviation in Finnish is pronounced as Hujiku, much easier than Helsingin Jalkapalloklubi. Vitória Sportklubb. Formed in 1922 by students, Vitória's name might have been attributed to Vitória de Setúbal, a fellow club that at the time was a top contender for the Campeonato de Portugal. The logo shows the first king of Portugal, Afonso I. Nicknamed Os Conquistadores, there's a lot of Portuguese pride here. The club's full name is Vitória Sportklubb, but you can call them Vitória SC, or their more popular name, Vitória de Guimarães, which refers to the city which they were founded, Guimarães. Astana Futbol Klubi. Lots of mergers here, so I won't bore you with the corporate structure. I'm actually not sure if any of the merged clubs existed before the year 2000, but I'm no expert in Kazakh football history. There was a club named Astana 1964 founded in the same year, but it went bankrupt in 2009, and I'm not sure it was affiliated. Anyway, two clubs in Kazakhstan's capital Almaty combined to form FC Lokomotiv Astana, named after the national railway company who sponsored them. The club shortened its name to FC Astana in 2011, and it became part of the nation's Sovereign Wealth Fund in 2013. Today, you can just call them Astana, though their full name is Astana Futbol Klubi. Sportno Društvo Nogometni Klub Olimpija Ljubljana. Technically founded in 2005, Olimpija Ljubljana's roots can be traced back to SK Ljubljana, which was founded in 1936. But the four-time Slovenian champions were bankrupt and dissolved in 2005. NK Bezigrad appeared in 2005, confirmed that the club was a new legal entity and wasn't responsible for the old club's tax burden or other debts. In 2008, they changed their name back to Olimpija Ljubljana. You'll probably just call them Olimpia, as Sportno Društvo Nogometni Klub Olimpija Ljubljana is a bit of a mouthful. Cercle Brugge Koninklijke Sportvereniging. Imagine if you and your school friends started a football club. Founded in 1899 as Cercle Sportif Brugeois by former students from the St. Francis Xavier Institute. The name has undergone a few changes over the decades, ultimately landing on Cercle Brugge Koninklijke Sportvereniging, which translates to Cercle Brugge Royal Sporting Association. You can call them Cercle Brugge for short. Kumen Paile Ruigeri na Shamrock. My Irish followers have told me that everyone calls them Shamrock Rovers rather than the Irish pronunciation, but I had to try to say it anyway. Hailing from Shamrock Avenue in Ringsend, a suburb of Dublin, that's how the name came about. Much of the origin of Shamrock Rovers is disputed among supporters of the club, with a lack of written evidence adding to the lore. For many years, the earliest known mention of the club was in newspaper archives from 1901, but later research showed the club was likely founded in 1899. One thing's for sure, they're the first Irish club to play in European competition. In English, it's a pretty simple name, Shamrock Rovers FC, or just Shamrock Rovers for short. In Irish, Kumen Paile Ruigeri na Shamrock. Club Pel Droiad I Saintia Nawid, the new saints of Oswestry Town and Llansanfraid Football Club. Welsh is always tricky to pronounce, and the club's history is even more complicated somehow. Originally formed as Llansanfraid FC in 1959, that was the name for 37 years. In 1996, local computer company Total Network Solutions of Oswestry got involved. This sponsorship involved adding the company name into the club name. The club's name was changed to Total Network Solutions FC, becoming the first instance in the United Kingdom of a football club renaming itself after a sponsor's name only. In 2003, Oswestry Town merged into TNS, and when British Telecom took over Total Network Solutions in 2006, the club needed a new name. Conveniently, they could keep the acronym. Llansanfraid had always been nicknamed the Saints and was already abbreviated to TNS. Oswestry had connections with St. Oswald, and that's how they became the New Saints. But if you want to say it in Welsh, or incorrectly in Welsh as I will try to do, it's Club Pel Droiad I Saintia Nawid. But you'll probably just call them the New Saints. Football Club Lugano. It's a shame to see historic institutions fail to take care of their finances. Founded in 1908, they ran into massive issues about 20 years ago when the club's president had embezzled millions of Swiss francs. This caused the club to lose their professional license and top division status. As a result, the team was renamed AC Lugano and had to play with under 21 players because they were forced to sell the senior team to pay for the club's debts. They merged with FC Malcantore Agno. When the club turned 100 years old in 2008, shareholders voted to bring back the name of Football Club Lugano to honor the club's history. You can call them Lugano for short. Heart of Midlothian Football Club. The Heart of Midlothian is a stone mosaic on the Royal Mile in Edinburgh. You can see it today. It's outside St. Giles Cathedral and marks the location of the old toll booth, which was a government building and jail in the Scottish capital. The toll booth was demolished in 1817, but remained fresh in the minds for many locals. Sir Walter Scott's novel The Heart of Midlothian had a big influence on the club's founders, a group of friends who started playing association football 150 years ago in 1874. They took the name from the historic county Midlothian, Lothian being the area within Scotland. Heart of Midlothian Football Club is their full name, but you can just call them Hearts. Football Club Petrocub Huncesci. Hailing from the city of Huncesci in Moldova, Petrocub also has a successful judo team in addition to football. The more you know. Originally founded in 1999 as Petrocub Condor Sharata Galbiena, they've undergone a handful of name changes in just 25 years. There's not a whole lot of info out there about this club, so let me know if you have more. You could call them Petrocub Huncesci or Petrocub. Fußballclub St. Gallen 1879, a club named for a city that was named for a monk. FCSG is named after its home city of St. Gallen in northeastern Switzerland and is actually the oldest club in the country. The club played matches as early as 1876, but officially registered and took the name in 1879. Other local sides merged into the club shortly after. The name of St. Gallen comes from St. Gall, Gallus in Latin, the wandering monk from Ireland who ended up in Switzerland. He established a hermitage, which is the site of the abbey and now St. Gall's Cathedral. If you're into history, which you probably are if you're watching this video, you'll be delighted to know that the library there contains some of the oldest texts in the world, some as ancient as 1300 years old. Fußballclub St. Gallen 1879, or St. Gallen for short. Panathinaikos Athleticos Omilios. Panathinaikos literally translates to Panathinaik, meaning it encompasses all of Athens. Panathinaikos was founded in 1908 as part of a breakaway club. Georgios Kalfatis and 40 others left their previous club after football was discontinued. The new club was named Porosferikos Omilios Athinon, or Football Club of Athens. It was created with a goal of spreading the new sport of football to the Greek public. After moving to a permanent home ground in 1924, the club was renamed Panathinaikos Athletikos Omilios, or All Athenian Athletic Club. One of the largest clubs in the world, with nearly 30 departments across all sports. As far as football is concerned, you can say Panathinaikos, but the full name is Panathinaikos Athletikos Omilios. Futbolski Klub Tupolski Sports Club. It's always fascinating to see how major historical events can impact the life and the name of a football club. TSC was founded in Serbia during World War I, then part of the Kingdom of Hungary and the Austro-Hungarian Empire. After the war ended, the region turned into Yugoslavia, and the club turned into Jugoslovenski Atletski Klub. Another world war would once again change borders, and the club returned to a Hungarian name, changing to the Serbian name Topola in 1951. The name FK AIK Baška Topola appeared for the first time in the 1970s. After suffering from financial difficulties in the early 2000s, the professional level was scrapped, playing at amateur levels, with players like Dusan Tadic. A merger with FK Basja brought back the name FK Baška Topola. In 2013, the name officially became FK TSC Baška Topola, or TSC for short. Futbolski Klub Borac Banja Luka. Borac, meaning fighter in Serbian, was founded by a group of football enthusiasts who financed the club believing it would help draw attention to the local labor movements that were happening. They named the club Radnički Sportski Klub Borac, which translates to Labor Sports Club Borac. Based in Banja Luka, which is part of Republika Srpska within Bosnia and Herzegovina, there's a lot to unpack with Balkan history, so I'll leave that for another day. While their full name is Futbolski Klub Borac Banja Luka, you can just call them Borac Banja Luka or just Borac. Larne Football Club. Hailing from the town of Larne in Northern Ireland, Larne FC was founded in 1889, only starting to play professionally in 1923. Nearly 100 years later, this is their first foray into the league phase of a UEFA competition. Perhaps not what the club's founders Reverend Turner, Mr. W.N. Brown, and L. Jackson Holmes envisioned after they watched a game of football and were inspired to create a club. Named for the city it calls home, Larne's name originates from the Gaelic territory Larnatha, itself derived from Lathar, a princess of Ireland some 2,300 years ago. You can call them Larne Football Club or just Larne. Futbolni Klub Dinamo Minsk. The logo and name may sound familiar to you. That's because there were many clubs with this name. Dinamo Minsk was founded as part of the Dynamo Sports Society in 1927. They were the only Belarusian club to play in the Soviet top league, winning the championship in 1982 and reaching the quarterfinals of the European Cup the following season. The term dynamo means power in motion and is a combination of Greek and Latin. The Greek word dynamis means power, and the Latin word motio meaning motion. Minsk is the capital city of Belarus, home to the club. There were a couple of name changes in the 1950s, but the original moniker returned in 1962. Full name, Futbolni Klub Dinamo Minsk, Dynamo Minsk for short. Pafos FC. Another club formed in very recent history, Pafos FC was founded in 2014 after a series of mergers. In the year 2000, APOEL Pafos and Evagoras Pafos united to form AEP. Founded in the 50s and 60s respectively, they had a fair amount of history, but neither could consistently remain in the top flight. Evagoras Pafos was named for Cypriot national hero Evagoras Palikaridis, and that's whose face is on the logo of Pafos today. In 2014, AEP combined with AEK Kuklia, uniting two of the biggest teams in Pafos in Southwest Cyprus. Now a united club for the region, the mergers have strengthened the club who won its first trophy last season, the Cyprus Cup, and is now playing in Europe for the first time. The magic of the Conference League. The FC in their name isn't an abbreviation. Pafos FC is the full name, so you can simply call them Pafos. Knatspor nu Feiliged Vikingur. Good luck with that name. There have been some other stories in this series about youngsters starting football clubs, but the founding fathers of Viking, one of Iceland's oldest football clubs, were 5 boys, aged 12, 9, 11, 8, and 10 years old. 32 lads met in a basement because they wanted to start a football club, just like the adults. So they collected a few pennies from everyone to buy a ball. After that, Vikingur were undefeated their first 10 years, and started winning titles soon after. Anyway, Vikingur is the Icelandic and Faroese word for Viking. Vikingur is easy. The word for football club in Icelandic is not so easy. Their full name is Knattspyrnufélagið Vikingur, but they are more commonly known as Vikingur Reykjavik. Yerevani Noah Fotballajanakum. If your first thought is about Noah's Ark, you're actually correct. Drawing inspiration from the Bible, the club was inspired by Noah, whose ark is said to have landed on the mountains of Ararat in modern-day Armenia. One of the youngest clubs in the competition, they were founded in 2017 as FC Artsak, but rebranded to FC Noah after getting sold to a new owner. You can call them Noah for short. Their full name is Yerevani Noah Fotballajanakum. Whew, that was a lot. Wasn't sure I was gonna make it at one point. Thanks for sticking with me, Footy fam. Like I said, plenty of info packed into this series. Hope you learned something new along the way, maybe even got inspired to go do some research yourself. And if you watched this all the way through, you're an absolute legend. Thank you. Thank you, Footy fam. A special thanks to the VIPs and Ultras who are paid subscribers on the Footy fam Patreon. This video wouldn't be possible without your support. If you want to see your name in the credits and get other awesome perks like BTS content and more, make sure to subscribe via the link in the description.